Good morning, everybody. So I actually got the request to make this particular tutorial, but if I say I want to make this tutorial direct, you might end up not getting it. So I will use a much simpler style of this to explain this particular one, so you'll be able to understand. Okay, now this gown looks like you make a cape, you make a boo gown, and you gather the front part, and that is that front part that is dropping. Is very deceiving, but this is not what happened, because I've not made this type, but I saw it one day hanging somewhere at the island. I behaved as if I wanted to buy it, and I took my time to look at the sewing. Now this style that you are looking at, the upper bodies is different, that band at the waistline is different, the down part that was cut on slash and spread, that stuff you are seeing at that waistline is called slash and spread. So that slash and spread you are seeing, good evening Russ, that slash and spread you are seeing is different. Then that center that is dropping was just attached, and they use that band to hide it. So it's still the same with this particular style I'm showing you here. The only difference between that first style and this one that you are seeing here is that this one does not have the draping on the down part, the lower bodies, but is exactly the same style. So I will be using a much simpler style to illustrate this very style that was given to me to illustrate. So at the end of it, you too, you'll be able to play with it and understand. Now this particular one you are seeing is in two parts. There's a cape and there's an inner gown. There's a cape and there's an inner gown. Now that inner gown, this is exactly what you are seeing. It's just that the cape in front for the other one came down and covered this bustier. Do you understand? But this particular one, the bustier is exposed. I don't know if you are getting me. I'm trying to break it down so that you will understand what happened there. Now this particular one, the bustier is open, but the previous one that was shown, the bustier is inside, giving shape to the gown, and the cape covered the front. I don't know if you understand, if you are getting what I'm saying. But this particular one, the cape is open, and the only place you have, though this one has sleeve, okay, this one has a sleeve that was cut differently, okay. So and then the cape at the back dropped to the floor in a flare effect, as in like an A line. Do you understand? I want you to know that this gown, why I'm breaking it down like this is so you understand that this gown is very simple. Now I will be using this particular one to explain this style, and you will understand it better and clearer. So if you are able to cut this one, you will now be able to cut the other one, which is the illustration itself proper. Now the only difference between this one and the illustration that was given to me to do is that this one, the only difference is that this one, the cape was not attached to the half length. The cape is hanging. So you, when making your own, you will measure the cape to come down to the half length, so you can attach it to that half length. Now the front bodies of this particular one, the lower bodies of the front, the lower bodies is going to be split into two, so that you can attach a flare effect draping. You pleat it and allow it to fall. Okay, you pleat it and allow it to fall. Now this particular style is actually not for beginners, because there are a lot of things that went on there which I might not be able to explain. But then this particular one was made with scuba, and there's no lining, there is no lining, and there is nothing. It's just that at the end of the day, the cape was attached with trimmings. Those things you are seeing on the cape are lace trimmings, or you can use any one that you are seeing, any trimming you see in the market that you feel is okay for you. But what they used for to beautify this particular cape is lace trimming, and you can see how beautiful it came out. After attaching lace trimming, you can still go ahead to add stones to it, just to add a little bit of bling bling. You understand? Now when you zoom into this particular picture, you will see that there is even some sewing problems. There are some sewing mistakes there, but that's not what we are talking about. Let's go right into making the cape. So we want to assume that this is our material, and it's going to be we are going to be cutting it on fold. Just listen well. When you listen, you'll be able to plot your own properly. So our material is going to be on fold, and we are going to be making one piece for both the front and the back. So it's not like we are going to cut the front separately and cut the back separately. We are cutting everything together. Now this is our length, our fabric that we want to use. Now this is the bodice that we are working on. Okay, for the front, the cape in front, it ended around the waistline. For this particular one, you can see it's hanging, but for this particular one, it came down to the waistline. Okay, that means this cape was tucked into the waistline. Do you understand? So you are going to observe the bust area of the cape. So you are going to observe from here to here for the front cape. Now for the back, depending on whether you want it to flay out, depending on what, there's nothing really to be done on the back. Now you are going to place your tape measurement from here, okay, and you are going to measure from here to here, which is 4 inches. Okay, that means our front cape should be 5 inches to be on the safe side. It's better that is a little bit puffed than that is tight. So make it 5 inches. Make it 5 inches. And I want to assume that this is our 5 inches. This is our 5 inches, right? Okay. So now for the back, now for this particular one, the cape ended somewhere around the back. But as you can see, for this particular one, it flowed to the ground. So you can measure as long as you want it to flow. And I want to assume that mine is 12 inch for the back. So we are going to be measuring 12 inch here. Do you understand? We are going to measure 12 inch, and I want to assume that this is my 12 inch. So now when you fold it this way, okay, you will have something like this. Okay, you will have something like this. So this is the back pattern and this is the front pattern. Now we are going to mark out our neckline. Now for the neckline of the front pattern, the neck width, that is this place, okay, we use 3 inches, and this is my 3 inches. We mark it somewhere around here. Now for my neck depth for the front pattern is 3 inches also. So we are going to measure 3 inches, and this is it right here, and we mark it out like so. Now for the back pattern, the neck width is 3 inches, but the back we made it 1 inch. So I'm going to be marking it out somehow like this. Okay, now you determine how wide you want your cape to be towards this side. Now I want mine to be 8, my shoulder is 8 inches, and this is where my 8 inches ended, and I want the cape to drop by at least 2 inches, and this is where I want it. So now it depends on you to measure from here to here for here, which is 3.5 inches. I mark 3.5 inches here. I mark 3.5 inches here, right? So I'm going to be curving out like so. Do you understand? I'm going to curve it out like so, and it's going to be the same thing for the back pattern, only that I want the back pattern to have this flay effect. So I'm going to be using the whole of the wideness here. So you can see this is what I'm going to be doing. You curve it out nicely. Do you understand? And make sure you curve out this place. Okay, so I'm going to be cutting out now. Okay, now after curving out, I'm going to open it up and I will cut out my neckline carefully. Follow what I have marked out. Make sure you follow what you marked out and cut out your neckline. Okay, so can you see? This is what I have. Okay, this is what I have. Can you see? Let me shapen it out so that it will look more beautiful. Okay, can you see? This is the cape. This is just basically it. Now, this is our front pattern, our bodies that we have plotted out before now. So you plot out the front and the back pattern and you join it. Now when you join, this is how the cape will be looking. Do you understand? This is how the cape is going to look. So can you see? This is how your design is going to be looking. Okay, now the band, remember that this is a rough work and I just did it sharp. Okay, now this cape, make sure you measure up to here so that you are going to be joining, for this particular one, you are going to be joining this cape to this band. This place has half length. The main reason why this gown has half length is because you need to hide this stitching here. You are going to join it here. Don't worry about finishing here because it's not going to show. In fact, if possible, you are going to sew it so that the stitching will be outside because the band will be laid on top. Now you are going to divide this front pattern into two, and there you are going to place a flay strip that you are going to pleat. Place it here. Don't worry about the finishing because the band is going to cover it. I don't want to make this particular fabric because I don't have anybody, I don't have any reason to sew it now, and I am very busy. So but this is just a sharp tutorial for somebody. Now your own cape is not this particular style. This particular style is what I have made. You can see how it's hanging. It's because this is paper. All here is going to fall. Do you understand? All here is going to fall and cover the sleeve. Now, but for this particular one, make sure that this cape got to this place. Let your own have a half length. So this edge of this cape you are seeing will be hidden in that half length. Do you understand? Now, slit the front here. Don't slit the upper bodice. Slit this one. That's the essence of the half length so that you can play with this part. Now, you are going to slit this part. Cut a flay that is the same length, pleat it and place it here. Now that band you are seeing was used to cover whatsoever that was done here. Cover it neatly. Do you understand? Now this is the back of the cape. So this is now the back of the cape and this is what is looking like. This is what our cape is looking like without the gown inside. Okay, so I will advise that you cut this first. Remember, before you start joining the cape, join front and back together because you are going to be using this cape to turn the neckline of both the front and the back. So you can either decide to put a zip at the back or you put a button at the back. Do you understand? So this is your front and back joined together and then you use the cape to turn it. Okay, and that is basically all. So by the time the person wear it, this one at the back is now the cape flowing freely and nicely and following the person. Hopefully I want to believe that you understand this tutorial, but if you do not understand, still let me know and I will explain more. Thank you and good night, my people.